Oh shit! The awards just got done literally like 2 or 3 minutes ago. We're gonna jump right into this shiznit. Make sure I'm looking at the right shit. Fucking this is Plist number 15. It is the top 10 moments of the Georgia Wrestling History Awards that just happened. I was taking notes. I was knocking out the cards while Logan Creed was talking, so that way I can just be hot and fresh with it. Of course, if you want to know who won for sure, it's going to be up on gwhnewsandnotes.blogspot.com, or you could just listen to the show. There is definitely parts of this show that you want to listen to. It's always super great. What is that picture that I'm holding up in the thumbnail? It is this. So what it is, well, you know what? Boom, there's that picture. What the fuck is that? Looks like a sketch of something. It is. But let's just jump into the list. That's what people want to know. Wait, but before that, I wrote the notes down on the back of this envelope. This envelope is something that I got in my P.O. box today. So I'm going to do an unboxing real quick. It's from Jeff Richards in Hickory, North Carolina. Jeff Richards in Hickory, North Carolina. And he writes, Dear Casey. Younger people are not going to get that reference at all. But I'm going to open up this. It's exciting. It's a letter. I held it up to the light to make sure that it wouldn't explode in my face or dump anthrax on me or anything like that. Doesn't appear to be the case. Open it up with my finger. Very aggressive. And let's see what's... Oh, shit. $2 bill. Can't wait to read this. Steven, I have been enjoying the video blogs for the past few months. Got this back in change the other night and immediately thought of you. Happy New Year, sir. Jeff Richards, former Georgia wrestling contributor. You fucking rule. I got a collection of $2 bills that you would not believe. Maybe I'll bust them out at some point or just take a picture of all my $2 bills to thank Jeff again. Fucking awesome. Let's get into the list. Number 10, moments of the Georgia Wrestling History Awards for 2019 awards. Hankins tattoo reveal with Grandpa. So Grandpa, Daryl Hall, won Referee of the Year in what I think is a bit of a shock. I was expecting David Weekley to run away with the voting, but Grandpa, people love him too. And both of them are great referees, but Grandpa won. And Matt Hankins wanted to be there when he won and cut this unbelievable promo of how they went from fucking fans. My couple of highlights. PCW is so great. Even the fans are the best in the world. Daryl Morris. But then Hankins revealed that he and Grandpa share a tattoo. They have the same tattoo of Team All You Can Eat. The 4XL Horsemen. Because they were Team All You Can Eat. I thought that was fucking cool as shit. Definitely worth tuning into the awards for. No, we got to fly this properly. Woo! Number 9, Joe is a genius. And I'm going to take partial credit for this. But when we were talking about Joe, how he won Technical Wrestler in spite of having a reputation of a guy who hits really hard and gets really hit really hard back in return, how does that guy win Technical? And there were a number of theories about it, that Joe applies things very well, that he like wrestled with that injury and people didn't even know he was injured, etc., etc., all of which was very true. But I put out there that Technical, to be the Technical Wrestler of the Year, the perception of you has to be that you are very intelligent. And that Joe definitely qualified. I think it kind of caught him by surprise, but I really feel that way. I think when you think of Joe Black, yes, authenticity, yes, intensity, yes, all of that shit. But I think Joe's smart. I think Joe is real fucking smart. And I think that's what was honored in large part with the Technical Award. Definitely worth listening to and listening to his reaction. Number 9, on the top 10 moments of the Georgia Wrestling History Awards. Number 8, Matt Hankins for the culture fucking speech when he was accepting his Manager of the Year award. A part of this highlight is Jeff G. Bailey calling in as a surprise to Matt Hankins to congratulate him. I thought it was fucking awesome and it was amazing. It's the award named for Jeff G. Bailey. And Matt Hankins seemed very taken with that. He cited Jeff as an inspiration to go and win it in the first place, and that he had an obligation and a lot of pressure, and he wanted to live up to that, and it reflected in his performance throughout the year. But then Matt Hankins used his platform, as usually a couple of people do, to rail about something, and he called out basically all of the wrestlers who said they were wrestling for the culture, but nonetheless, when you had a black promoter and Booker in the state, where were they for him? And the fact that often people are falling short, and they should revel in the fact that the awards, almost every one of the awards, featured winners and runner-ups and nominees that were African American, etc., etc., etc. Matt Hankins wants us to embrace all of it, and Matt Hankins was not pulling fucking punches. I can't really do that speech justice here. All I can say is go listen to the motherfucking awards, because it was awesome. Number 7. Top 10 moments of the Georgia Wrestling History Awards. David Ali opening with, "Hopefully I don't shit the bed." Which, of course, was an allusion to and the beginning of the year when we did the state of wrestling speeches, and David Ali, I did not like his speech, and he was, I think, last or second to last on my list. It was basically the first P list that really got the channel rolling. It was the first thing that got hundreds of views. People really wanted to see that list, and David Ali shit the bed, and then he came on later on Tipping Point and fucking went at me and Larry hard, and that wasn't very well received either, causing a rebuttal by Jonathan Feltner later on. It was fucking awful, but David Ali won Most Improved, and David Ali, by being self-deprecating, shows how far along he's come, and had a great speech for his acceptance as well. So it's definitely worth listening to. But that opening line of "hopefully I don't shit the bed" got one of the biggest laughs of the night, in a night filled with them. Woo! Number 6. The feud of the year becomes the feud of the awards. We had technical issues where Joe wasn't really on, and it was just Huck for a while, and the sound wasn't so good. And Huck, without Joe being on the line with him, was kind of just being very analytical, and I was asking him questions that inspired sort of this sort of analysis as opposed to emotion. But then Joe got on the line. And Joe got on the line and went at Huck hard. And then Huck went right back at him. And the award show got fucking taken over. And you could hear me, JJ, and Larry basically. You can hear this palpable thing of we didn't know what the fuck to do. Those motherfuckers went at each other. And I can only imagine what's going to happen Friday in their fucking dog collar match at Southern Honor. But when for the award show, the feud of the year, which is a new category, became the fucking feud of the awards. Unbelievable. Great moment. Number 5, Danny Jordan's declaration that the key to her success, she said, even though she won Female Performer in 2018, that she hadn't really defined who she was. And the secret to was Danny Jordan 2019 had to beat Danny Jordan 2018, and she did it. How did she do it? She put it so simply, so beautifully, so eloquently. I learned to be me. When she said it, I could actually feel my chest tighten, and I went, fuck, that's somebody who fucking understands themselves and gets this wrestling thing. And she has evolved as a person, as a performer, as a professional wrestler. Danny Jordan then discussed how she learned to just be herself, that she wasn't going to be generic. She was going to be the most unique person she could possibly be, which was her. It's fucking beautiful speech. Definitely worth listening to. Definitely the kind of thing that inspires others. Number 4, top 10 moments of the Georgia Wrestling History Awards. The Goodmans. I'm going to take credit for that. So we wanted to surprise Larry. He knew he was winning the Legend Award, but he didn't know when we were going to talk about it. I wanted to wait until JJ was on, which he was on for the entire show, which ended up being great. I wanted to have Matt Hankins there, and I wanted to have Jeff there, and I let them know that I wanted each one of them to speak. Now, Matt Hankins wasn't on the line when we're announcing about Larry being the legend, but Jeff very eloquently spoke, and as Jeff G. Bailey could, fucking railed against the people that didn't vote for Larry, which was a fucking phenomenal moment. And JJ very, very eloquently spoke about Larry Goodman, and the first time Larry Goodman said something about him. But then I announced that we were going to have physical awards from now on, starting next year, that I would provide, and that my kid, that's what that picture is. That was my kid's sketch that she was doing in real time. My kids came up with, you know what the trophies are going to be? A fucking referee holding up a wrestler's hand in triumph, and that wrestler will have a mask. As per the suggestion of Veronica, my 8-year-old said, oh, he should have a mask, and then they should have the state of Georgia over one eye, sort of alluding to Ted Allen of the Nightmares. How fucking great is that? That's my kids, y'all. But we're gonna call those awards, much like the Academy of Arts and Film Arts and Sciences and shit is. Everybody knows it as the Oscars, the statue you get. Those statues that people are gonna get from now on are gonna be called the Goodmans. How many Goodmans are you gonna have on your shelf? Larry seemed very taken with all of it, and the announcement, by the way, that Landmark sent to me that they're going to put Larry into their Hall of Fame as well. So everything was coming up Goodman, and he's going to be the first one to receive an actual Goodman. Number 3 of the top 10 moments of the Georgia Wrestling History Awards is Logan Creed Complete. His speech was equal parts. It was very fun, but it was very serious too. This is a guy whose game is completely together. This is a guy who's figured it all out. This is a guy who really is the Georgia Wrestler of the Year, in the sense that he had a huge year. He was on top everywhere. He stayed in my personal top 10 throughout the year, and he got signed by MLW. And by all accounts, humble yet confident. A complete game. I put Logan Creed complete because that guy represents the state better than any other wrestler in the state. And he talked about Ron Niemi, and he just, again, just a guy he's a man's man. And he really represents the state well and really deserved to be Wrestler of the Year and challenged people to beat him next year in the most polite of ways. Number 2 moment of the Georgia Wrestling History Awards, Matt Sell's acceptance speech featuring the line, I know what the fuck I'm doing. It was the angriest of the speeches, but I shouldn't misconstrue that as it was an angry tirade, even though he said it was going to be. This was a guy who was right and proved so many others wrong. And this was his time to really say it. And he said it. And it was epitomized by the lines, I know what the fuck I'm doing. And he does. And he's been doing this a long, long time. I mean, JJ talked about how he's basically working crew at one point in the Landmark Arena. And now you have a guy who's one of the biggest stars. That's something we don't say, but it's the fucking truth. If you have a top 10 who are the biggest stars in Georgia wrestling, maybe I need to make that list. It's a different thing than top 10 wrestlers entirely, is it not? He's one of the 10 biggest stars. He's one of the 5 biggest stars. He's one of the 3 biggest stars. And he might be number 1. And you know why? Because he knows what the fuck he's doing. You got to hear that speech, folks. Matt Sell's number 2 on the top 10 moments of the Georgia Wrestling History Awards. Finally, number 1. Southern Honor wins it all. Promotion of the Year, Show of the Year, Promoter of the Year, Booker of the Year, Danny Jordan, Female Performer of the Year, featured player there. David Ali, Most Improved, featured player there. Joe and Huck, Motherfucking Feud of the Year, featured player there. Joe, a lot of his stardom and rise as being Technical Wrestler of the Year, that happened a lot. His platform was Southern Honor. Wrestler of the Year, Logan Creed, did big shit there as well. Anything else? Holy shit. It was a Roman triumph. This is their year. It's undeniable. Nobody can deny it. Last year was Southern Fried. A couple years ago was Peach State. It was Anarchy and Wild Side for years. PCW had their year. WrestleAmerica really kind of had their year. Rampage certainly had theirs. But now, galvanized on the airwaves, Southern Honor dominated. Show of the year, Booker of the year, Promoter of the year, Promotion of the year, and then you could argue most of the other awards were theirs. And their declaration was simple. 2020, we're going to do it all over again and then some. Come get us, motherfuckers. And hearing the interplay between Dylan and Gary, it's easy to see why they succeeded so hard. Gary Lamb, Gary's gonna Gary. It's something that Jeff told me months and months ago. And Gary Gary'd. And it was exactly what you wanted to hear, expected to hear, yet somehow surprised you anyway. And Dylan, he went from a scared boy that we talked to at the beginning of 2019 to a humble man, but a man who had the quiet confidence and the energy of somebody who knew that they had accomplished a goal that they so richly deserved and wanted with every fiber of their being. And the story of when he found out he was winning Booker of the Year was one of the most touching things in the entire awards show. And Gary Garried. And you can see why Southern Honor not only won this year in a fucking romp. Who the fuck is going to beat them this year? Who? Who? Action, you got your work cut out. Southern Fried, you got your work cut out. Viral, you got your work cut out. Because you gotta fucking kill the king, and you gotta kill him in front of everybody. Good fucking luck. And that is our P list. And there's a lot to look forward to in 2020. Thank you, Jeff, for the $2 bill. See you on the flip side. I'm going to have a Be Kind review up tomorrow called What's in the Box, as I unpack one of the last boxes that I have not unpacked that is full of wrestling books and probably other kind of books, and I'm just going to open the box live and see what's in there and keep pulling shit out and tell you my instant thoughts about each one of them. See you later, Gator.